What's up, boys and girls? It's me again, Opus XPN here, and I have a secret to confess. I'm Batman. I'm Batman! Yeah. Well, putting jokes aside, this video is on cutting boards. As you know, I'll be getting into kitchen stuff a lot. I've always liked to cook, but I never had the right equipment to cook all the time. So now that I have the time and I can invest on it, I am doing that. So we're gonna go with cutting boards now. This big monster one on the bottom, that's the one I recently got. As you know, cutting boards, they have a lot out there. I mean, you have a lot of recycled ones, bamboo, different kind of wood, polymer, plastic, bunch of them out there. I mean, a plethora of options on cutting boards. But I always opt for the wooden ones when I can. Do I like polymer or plastic ones? Well, it's not my preference, but I will use them. Well, so as you know, the bacteria likes to hang around a lot in cutting boards. Now, as you know, in order to get bacteria out, you have to wash, sanitize, and clean cutting boards. Bacteria will go into the grain and stay in there, and then it'll get into your food. So, what do you do to prevent that from happening? Well, as you know, water is the #1 enemy of wooden cutting boards because it will get into the grain, to the fibers, and then it will dry out, and then it will warp and crack and stuff like that. So you have to be careful if you're using wooden cutting boards. Now, this is what I use on, when I'm gonna cook something at home. If I'm gonna use to cut chicken or fish, I use this flexible throwaway ones on top of this small cutting board. This is a bamboo Chicago cutlery cutting board, and I use this plastic one on top to cut my chicken and fish. Those are things that I don't want to cut directly on the wood. I just don't like the stuff, soaking into my cutting board. So that's the flexible one for chicken and fish. This one I've had for 5 years, I think, 4 or 5 years. It's made out of bamboo. It's very sturdy. It looks nice, but I didn't take care of it very well, so it kind of warped. So it doesn't lay completely flat on the surface. It has a little wobble because I did not take care of it. I just would soak it in water and rinse it off and leave it to basically, dry itself, without drying it, without helping drying it. So a lot of water got into it and it worked a little. And I never used oil on it. But as you can tell, for 4 or 5 years of use without using any oils and anything to maintain it, it still withstood time and abuse from me. So that's why I'll keep it around and I would not get rid of it. So bamboo, Chicago cutlery, awesome cutting board. But the thing is with the bamboo, a lot of odors and a lot of juices for whatever I cut in there, it absorbs them very fast. So I was like, well, I don't mind the vegetable part, but the protein, the red meats and stuff like that, not too good with it. No, I'm gonna leave it only for vegetables, fruit, and that's it. And then I got this one for red meat. This is a sheesham wood made in India. Very nice sturdy cutting board. Very nice looking grain on the wood. It has a lot of scarring from the knife when I'm using the knife on the cutting board. So it scars really quick. That's telling me that it is a dense wood, but the outside of the cutting board, when it does a cross cut on it, it marks itself really quick. So, but it's still a good cutting board for meats. I do use it for red meat, and I use the bamboo for vegetables. And this is my newer one, Bush Block. This one, it is not gonna be used for also vegetables and protein, has only red meats. I will not cut chicken or fish on the wooden cutting boards. I just refuse to do that. I don't want that stuff in my cutting board. The red meat, I'm not saying it's any better, but fish and chicken, they're a little bit more dangerous. Um, Bacteria likes to hang out in cutting boards, goes to soaking into the grain and into the cuts that you leave with a knife. It just goes in there. You want to sanitize it, clean it with water. Only the first time, only the first time when you get the cutting board, use soap on it. A little bit of very mild detergent soap, dishwashing soap, and wash it. Dry it out yourself, like dry it out. Let it hang on the counter, standing up, so it can dry completely. And then after that, you can do a sanitizing on it, basically using rock salt, sea salt, and half lemon, and then just basically like sanding the top surface of the cutting board. Or you can get a little bit of water, equal parts of water and white vinegar, um, and just clean it out with a rag or something. That will sanitize the cutting board. But sanitizing, you do it. You don't have to do it every day or every time you use. You can do it every week or depending on the use, every week, every month, depending on the use. As long as you keep it clean and you keep it conditioned, you don't have to sanitize it that often. The reason why is when you put the proper conditioning agents or oils on your cutting boards, that prevents the bacteria from forming. Bacteria doesn't like oil. It hates oil. It likes moisture. So what I have is Howard's cutting board oil. This is made out of food grade mineral oil. Food grade mineral oil is used also in pharmacies. You can get it as a laxative. Don't worry about it. You will not get diarrhea if you use a little bit of oil on your cutting boards. You have to drink, a little bit more than that to actually work as a laxative. But you can get it there. You don't want, you cannot find specific ones in your stores in your town. You can go to a pharmacy and ask for food grade mineral oils, and they have it. But if you have a store, any store that says kitchen stuff, you can find probably mineral oil for cutting boards. And that one can be used for anything, wooden utensils, anything made out of wood for the kitchen. So you use the cutting board, you wipe it clean, you already washed it and dried it and everything. Just a few drops of the cutting oil on top of the cutting board, just to maintain. You don't want any, just the area where you used it. You don't want any bacteria building there, so just put the oil there, and it will help it, maintain the cleanness of it, and it also maintain the grain and the fibers on your wooden cutting board, so it will not warp or crack, because cutting boards made out of wood need moisture, and this is the type of moisture they need. They need those lubricants, those uh, oils to maintain the fibers in the wood. So this is a good option. I got the board, but I also got their oil, the mystery oil, and I put it on when I first got this board. After I washed it, I soaked in a lot of oil in both sides because it's a reversible one. It's a 24 by 18 by 2 1/4. It's a monster. Probably kill a human being with this. I washed it, and then I put the oil and let it soak, for a couple of hours on both sides. Wiped off the excess oil, and then I applied the cutting board cream. This is made out of I think it's natural unbleached beeswax and the mineral oil. So that one I left it 36 hours so it can really soak into the board. So board is already conditioned to use. I will not do this treatment again until probably the full treatment, 36-hour curing stuff. probably a month from now, if necessary. Um, but after it's used, I will wipe it clean with water, and I will put a couple of drops of the oil just on top, just to maintain it, or a little bit of the wax, just to, put back all those oils and waxes back into the wood. Um, I will not use detergent on them again, unless I mean it really got like blood and stuff like really soaked into it. That's the reason I got this board, because this board is made out of rock maple. It has a very tight grain, so this doesn't absorb a lot. Basically, everything stays on the surface, and that's the reason I got this one. It is made out of rock maple, but this one is edge grain. It's not end grain. The edge grain, you have long strips, and then put them together side by side, and it's a very tight grain. It will not soak in a lot of stuff. Then you have your end grain, that you basically have little pieces of wood um, standing up. So you have the grain, you can see the grain from the top, and then it's made like a checkerboard. That one, what it does is when you use your knife or your hatchet, whatever you're using on it, once you finish using it, you put oil on it, basically all the fibers will come back to where they were supposed to be, so you won't see a lot of ugly cuts on the cutting board. So that's the advantage of the end grain. The edge grain, you will see the cuts, but you have a very hard surface to work on that will not absorb anything. I mean, it's very dense wood, so it's kind of hard for it to absorb liquids. Once it's cured with the oil and the wax, everything will stay on top. And even if it tries to go in, the oil and the waxes and everything that is inside the grain will not let bacteria form. So that's why it's very important to use this conditioning agents, because it helps you keep it clean and sanitized. So you want to protect your wooden cutting boards with that. Even though I used the bamboo for a long time without it, I can just imagine the torture it was going through. But I did clean it with dish soap every freaking time I used it. After I used it, I would just soak it in water and just scrub the hell out of it with dish soap. So I knew it was more or less, it was clean now, but I regret not using any kind of oils on it. And that material does absorb a lot of stuff really, really quick. But it is good for your knives, it will not damage your knives. But you need to give proper maintenance. That's the key here. Proper maintenance to what you're using, because it is part of your tools. So wanted to show you guys this, my baby here now, 2418 2¼ Bose block, or Bose block, I don't know how you pronounce it. Very nice, heavy rock maple, and this one is edge grain. Very hard surface to cut on, very nice looking. My sheesham, excellent board, I like it. My bamboo is like I have a sentimental attachment to it, because I put it through so much pain, and it's still there working. So that's it. That's just the video on my cutting boards, and showing you my new cutting board. This monster here, very more my size, big, massive bastard here. Very nice. Well, I'll see you guys again with another video, maybe on knives, maybe on incense, maybe on kitchen stuff, I don't know. But I'll bring you something. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon again.